How you doing, wealth builders? Welcome to our week 3 credit education course. In this course, we're going to talk about how to build a strong credit profile. By now, from the previous course, you should have went through your credit report and have submitted all derogatory items off your credit report, all collections, late payments, charge-offs, collections, student loans, medical bills, any of the derogatory items you have in your credit report. You should be in the dispute process. You should have them in the dispute process, and they should be ready to be removed. In the meantime, while we're waiting on those items to come off your credit report, we're going to teach you how to build a strong credit profile. How to put your credit score on steroids. I call it steroids because we're going to teach you how to use the algorithm to put your score on steroids. The algorithm is given to you, and only thing we need to do is just follow along to increase the maximum score that you can get out of your credit. Like I said in the previous course, we went through all the credit letters, waiting some things to be disputed. And now we're going to show you how there are some things that you can do right now to build your credit up. And you want to do this to ensure the maximum approvals for what you apply for. You want to make sure you get the maximum credit cards. Like I stated, we're going to make sure all these negative items are removed off your credit report. We're going to make sure that you have no more than 3 to 4 inquiries in the past 6 months. Because a lot of times people will still get denied credit when you have too many recent inquiries. What a lender doesn't like is when someone is trying to apply for credit. I mean, even though we are applying for credit, but sometimes the lender just doesn't like us to shop for multiple, to shop for multiple loans or multiple credit. So the more inquiries you have, it drops your score. So we kind of want to limit those inquiries that we put on our credit report. The first thing first, if you have any credit cards, you want to make sure that all your average credit cards are under 25%. This means if you have multiple credit cards, you want to make sure on average, the average meaning if you have 5 credit cards, you divide and you have a certain card utilization. The card utilization is when the limit is it's the limit divided by the balance. That gives you your utilization. How much are you using out of the card limit? So if you have a $3,000 credit limit and you're only using, you have spent $1,000, you have a 33% utilization. That means you're using 33% of your card. And you want all cards to be under 25%. I suggest 20, but I mean, some people kind of carry a balance, but actually the lower the better. So if you can pay your cards off every month, that's amazing. But you usually try to keep it under 25%. But of course, the lower utilization that you have, the higher your credit score. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start out by adding trade lines. And also too, we're going to teach you how to, in the next course, we're going to kind of teach you how to like lower your overall utilization, because your overall utilization it's on average of how often you use all your cards overall. So if you got 5 credit cards and the total limit of all those cards combined is like, let's say 30,000, and you using 20,000 of that available credit, your overall utilization is like 80%. That is too high. But we're going to show you little tricks and tips on the next session to show you how to kind of lower that if you're not able to pay all your cards down. We're going to teach you how to add trade lines. A trade line is when someone else uses your credit history to report on your credit history. That means if I have a credit card, and a trade line means that it can be used, not a bad trade line. A bad trade line is when I have a credit card and there are missed payments on there, missed or late payments. The credit card usage is over, we'll say 50%, and you haven't had it that long, and the limit is low. But a good trade line is a credit card. Say if I have a Capital One card, I've never been late on it. My credit card limit is 10,000. I've had it for 5 years. Like I said, and I always, and my payments aren't late. That is considered a good trade line. That's what you can put those on your credit report to show good credit history. What people ask all the time is, hey, if I add somebody onto my card, can they use my card? Can they see my account? No. Only way that a person with a trade line will have access to your actual physical card unless you give them a card. But most people don't. No, they cannot see your money. No, they cannot make any adjustments on your account. They cannot spend any money. They have no access to your account. Only thing they have is your history on their credit report. So they have no access to none of your information. They don't have access to the card. They can make no changes on your actual card. So that's one good thing about it. And when you add a trade line, it's simple. Just actual call all major credit card issues, whether it's from the bank, whether it's from a credit union, you can add an authorized user. You simply call them up and say, I want to add an authorized user on my account. They're going to ask you for the person you're adding, their first and last name, their social security number, their address, and their telephone number. That means that all this information so they can report it properly to the bureau. Another thing is the posting date. So when will you probably be able to see the trade line on your credit report? Just say if you pay your cards on the 13th of every month, that's when the actual creditors report to the credit bureaus for that particular card. Just say if you call and add that person on the 10th, that means they are in the system before they report to the bureau. So that means probably like within like 10 days, the person you added will show up on their credit report. Say if you wait after the statement date, say if you added them on the 15th, you have to wait till and they don't report no more to the next month. Credit card companies report every 30 days. So that means you have to wait an additional 30 days for that credit card to report. Once that credit card reports, you will see an increase in your score, depending on like the age limit. The scores can vary just depending on the age limit of the card, how much it is, things of that nature. But it will increase your score. But of course, certain factors make this score go higher with a bigger trade line. So right by now, we should understand what a trade line is. Anybody can have a trade line. You, your mother, your significant other, your friend, anybody that has a credit card that qualifies for a trade line, at least I would say at least 3 years or older, with a card limit at least $2,000 or better, no late payments, and under 25% card utilization. I say 15, but 25 is okay, but that's a good trade line. Anything over that, do not use it. It's not going to help your score, and especially if it's over that, it's going to hurt your score. So those are typically good trade line. When that trade line posts, it will look like this on your credit report. It will say authorized user. That means that you are an authorized user. This is a trade line. This is not your account. You're using someone else's credit history. This account was opened in 2014. It's what, 4 years old? This has a card limit of $2,000 and have a zero balance. This will help out your credit. I can't say significantly how much, but it does increase your credit by more than you would trying to build it on, trying to build it up on your own. That does give you an increase in your score. Like I said, what trade line does is just give you a little credit history. It gives you credit history, and it puts you just some history on your credit report so that a lender can, it may not be much, but you have something on there. Like I said, once the trade line and post is gonna significantly increase your score by a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a new account. And if you remember from the previous session, I talked about the cheat sheet, the FIFO credit scores. The FIFO credit score is based on 5 different weighted methods. 30% comes from developer credit, 10% comes from number of inquiries, the other 10% the type of credit, 35 payment history, 15 the length of history. And a trade, then this is why a trade line increases your credit risk, your credit score? First off, it's a new account. A new account consists of 10% of your credit report. The age history. The history. The history accounts for 15% of your score. So now you got a card that's not 3 years old. That's gonna make up 15% of your score. 30% of your score comes from available credit, which is card utilization. If you have and that's 30% of your score. This is why you want to keep your cards under 25%. If you're especially if you're trying to apply for something. If you're not trying to apply for nothing, just always, you can make the minimum balance if you can't afford to pay it, but make the minimum balance. But when you're trying to apply for new credit, you want to make sure that you have the maximum score before you apply so you can get the best interest rate and the highest limit that you're trying to acquire. So this counts for 30% of your score. And payment history, that counts 35% of your payments. 35% of your credit score comes from payment history. So you want to make sure that trade line you getting has no late payments. So that's accumulate 35% of your score. That's why trade lines have so much and significant impact on your credit, because of these factors. And this is the cheat sheet that you can go by. Let's talk about installment loans, starting to kind of add things to your credit report. Since we have our cheat sheet, let's figure out what we can do to increase our score and give us more credit history. You can add an installment loan. You can just get you a small installment loan. An installment loan is a loan that's repaid over time with a set number of scheduled payments. It's like a car note. You get a car note, they tell you got it for 5 years, you pay $300 a month. That is an installment loan. You go to the store, you go to the say you moving, go to the furniture store, you need $10,000 worth of furniture. You apply, they say, hey, you got 24 months to pay this back. At $100, you got to pay $100 for 24 months. That's an installment loan. Anything that's given over a period of time and a certain scheduled amount every month. And there are ways you can add this onto your credit report. I would get definitely a furniture account and some type of little small account just to start putting that, just to start building that part of your credit, that 15% of your credit. So you mean to tell, I know some of you asking, so like, down, you mean to tell me that I can add stuff on my credit report to make it stronger? Like, yes, as we just talked about, the trade lines, adding installment loans. These are things that you can add onto your credit report to make it stronger. I want to talk about the misunderstanding that a lot of people have about having a good credit score and a strong credit profile. Did you know that you still can get the client credit with a high credit score, but you have no credit history? You can still be denied. A person with a 680 credit score with lengthy credit history will have a better approval than a person with a 720 credit score with limited credit history. Why? This is because the credit history lets the lender know you are a responsible borrower over time, that you show a track record, that you can manage accounts, that you can manage your money. And you've been doing this for a while. Like, it's a track record. Just say that the newer person, even though they may look good overall, that they have a 720 credit score, but you don't have any history to show me that, to prove to me that you can maintain these accounts. That I don't know that it may be too much for you. I want you to be able to build this up so you can prove to me over time that, hey, I can manage multiple accounts. But there's just some things you have to do to get to that point. And I want to say this too. It's just like having a star player that never been to the NBA championship before, but you got a veteran on the bench who's been there a while and can compete, and that you've known that can compete in that sort of playing field because he's done it before. He's done it several times. So you're more likely to take a risk on him than to someone who's never been there before. They look good on paper, they're very athletic and stuff, but how do I know you can perform under this type of pressure? It's the same way with a credit lender. Prove me a track record that you can, if I give you this money, that you can manage the accounts well and you'll be able to pay back on time. So you want to make sure that you build credit history on you, have a strong credit profile. Now let's take a look at a good credit score with history. Let's take a look at it. This here is a credit profile. You have, how many accounts there are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Couple of auto loans and student loans. Student loan is not really considered, it's not considered having bad credit because you're in student loan debt. If you have no, most people have student loans. It's the when you go into the fault on your student loans, that's what gives you the bad credit. But as long as you're in good standing, I mean, you don't owe, a whole lot, you still want to pay them off. And it just depends on what you're trying to apply for. And it depends on your debt to ratio income, because it is considered a debt. And it depends on what you're trying to do. Certain factors may be involved on, your certain particular interest rate. Say when you're going to apply for when they're going to apply for a mortgage or something, they take in effect of your debt to ratio income. Are you likely to be able to afford to pay this mortgage for 30 years? This person has another loan on here. This is a $17,000 loan. They gave him this loan because he showed over time that he can pay amounts like this. He has a paid off car, a car that's almost paid off, that never been late. He have accounts that have a zero balance. This is letting the lender know this person is responsible for money. He is not likely to be in debt, that he take care of his finances. All right, let's look at it. Let's look at the same, and this score actually is like a 720, I think. Let's look at somebody with the same as that score, but with, when I say limited credit history. This person here has the same score. Look at the difference in the credit history. They just got a vehicle. That's it. So who would you more likely lend money to? Somebody that's proven to you that they can manage multiple accounts and they have things that's paid off, or somebody that's that's starting out fresh that haven't even paid anything off yet? You're going to lend it to the person that have proven that they can, in the past, that they can pay their bills on time and manage multiple accounts, because they've proven to you that they can do that. So that's what you want to build that strong credit profile at. Talked about the credit score with the good history. We talked about the credit score with the limited history. Now, what else can you add on the credit report for credit history? We just spoke about the trade lines, but there are other things you can add on to your credit report as well. Somebody just asked, is it better to hold off an account for a period of time, even if it's paid off? The answer is yes. You never want to close an account. If you have a credit card with an interest rate too high, you try to pay for it, pay it down, but never close it. Why? Remember I told you the cheat sheet? You want 15% of your score comes from payment history. The older you have an account, the better. The difference is with other type of loans is that once they're paid off, they're paid off. An installment loan, if you haven't paid for $200 for 5 years, after that 5th year, on the last payment of the last month, you make that $500, you're done. The account stays closed. But it does help your credit report, because it shows that you can pay for something. You paid off a loan that's not late. You really didn't have too many balances, but you paid off a loan in the amount of time given. That's positive credit history. That's very positive credit history. These are some other things that you can add on your credit report. You can add, did you know that you can put your rent on your credit report? If you've been staying anywhere that you're paying rent, that can be added onto your credit report, and it can impact your credit score significantly. Why? Because it's giving you credit history. It's giving you the install. It's giving you payment history. It's giving you new accounts. And the thing that's just the two factors I just spoke on accumulates for like 40 to 50% of your score. And what you do is you go onto the rental karma, you fill out the application. I think it's like 100 and something bucks and like $15 a month. They go back up to 3 years. So if you've been paying rent for the past 3 years and it will never on your credit report, now it's time to get it on your credit report. It will significantly increase your credit score and significantly increase your chances of credit approval. The same thing with credit my rent. The same thing. If you've been paying rent and if you've been paying rent and you never was late or anything like that, and you can verify that, you can add it onto your credit report as well. This increases your score too. Let's talk about they got jewelry accounts. There's a jewelry account called My Jeweler Club. It allows you to to help build your credit. You don't have to have the best credit. And I think it's like $100 down. You got to spend like $100 of their merchandise. They have like watches, earrings, and whatnot. But it is a very, very awesome thing to help build your credit up. 2 to 3 months of getting something and paying it back will significantly increase your score. It will give you that profile. It'll give you that foundation. That's what creditors look for, that foundation. Like, have you built a foundation with your credit score? Secured cards. A secured card is something that you use that you have to pay back. That's your money. So basically, if you go to your bank, a credit union, or any place that offers a secure line of credit, you will actually give them cash and they will give you a card. Whatever how much money that you gave them. Yes, there are interest rates factored in that, but if you have bad credit, it's something I highly suggest that you do. You have to pay back the money. I mean, that you have to pay back the money that you spend. So it makes you more responsible because it's your money. You're going to pay it back. There's a site called Credit Builders Card. This card here helps you build credit as well. And they report to all 3 bureaus, and this is basically like the same way you're spending your money. You have an Indigo card. The Indigo card is like, I call it like a Walmart. It's like a little, you can buy cell phone stuff, home and garden, tools. It's just different type of things that you can do, that you can purchase from these places, but they give you a credit card to establish credit history. Like going back to the trade line again, we already talked about that in the previous slide, that it just basically allows someone else to use your credit report. Once your credit once these items, the negative items, remove off your credit report, and you have these items in your credit report, now you're building up a strong credit profile. So now once you have these things on your credit report, you're able to go get the high dollar amount loans, the credit cards, because now you have a track record that's stating that, hey, I manage my money well. And that's when you start getting pre-approvals in mail from different places that the bureau done sold out to you. We're going to get in there to the next course, talking about other TransUnion, Experian, Equifax being one of the biggest 3-tier companies. Sometimes they sell your information to people. That's where pre-approvals come in from. So once you start getting that good credit, you're going to have pre-approvals coming in, so they can basically get you to buy one of their products. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about how to manage credit cards. We're going to talk about how to make the most out of your credit card, how to leverage debt, and how to get the maximum credit cards. So I will see you guys on the next session. Goodbye.